Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson, who will be coming on in a second. There he
That
is.
would be me.
Yeah, and we've got plenty to talk about this next couple hours, don't we, Les?
We do. And happy summer, fall, winter, spring to you, Fred, whatever it is.
It was 30 degrees here the
It
other day.
was it was 30 here too.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
not that much different, but Les, the reveals keep on coming. We're going to tell some interesting information about this EV6 that Kia revealed. They revealed it in Seoul, Korea, which is really cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Very cool vehicle. And Jeep and Cadillac are having a great year. It looks like people are buying Escalades by the fistful.
that's right. And it does make financial sense sometimes to buy a new vehicle instead of a used one. That's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's an interesting study by IC Cars. Certain models, it just makes better sense to buy it new because
Yeah,
the used models are not that less money than compared to the new ones. So we'll talk about that. It's good information if you're out looking for a vehicle. And then Chevy stops taking orders on the 2021 C8 Corvette. I actually read an article, they called it a troubled release.
Hmm. Well, I guess I won't go to the dealer today.
No, no. The good thing is, if you wait, like if for 2021, you didn't get wireless Android Auto and all that.
Right,
For
right.
2020, I should say. For 2021, you did get it, but they always make improvements. So 2022. Who knows what they'll have? But the problem is, certain people
That's right.
ordered certain colors and they're no longer available. So what do you do then?
That's an interesting thing. I wonder if Chevy would accommodate for that.
I don't know. It's real interesting though. And we'll talk about that, and we'll also talk tech. It looks like hydrogen power is coming to some delivery vans in the European market. So we'll
Yeah,
see if we see them here. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we might?
I think we will. I think we're going to be trying everything.
Okay. Well, good deal. Good deal. Well, that's all coming up on Cruise Control. Plus, in the second hour, we're going to tell you about Mercedes EQS. It will have 478 miles of electric range and can charge over 180 miles in just 15 minutes. But that is going to put a lot of stress on the battery, I would say, Les.
I think its life is going to suffer,
Yeah.
but we don't know. Over at Nissan, the 370Z, well, you can buy any one you want, because hardly anybody is.
Yeah, it's hardly anyone is buying them, and I would ask you, would you buy one knowing that the either the 400Z or just the Z, we don't know what they're going to call it, is coming pretty soon? Would you buy one? I mean, it's a perfectly good
Hmm.
car in a sense that it's been built for a long time. They've improved it, they've updated it, but now it might be a little bit long in the tooth.
Yeah, but if you really like them and you wanted one, yeah, I would, because I get a good deal and it's proven.
Yeah, that's true. It is proven. It is proven. And they were. I was at an event, one of the last events, I think, of the New York Auto Show. Remember those? Would have been. We would have been going
Gee,
to the press days this
yeah,
week.
we used to go to those
We
shows.
used to go to those shows, and
Yeah,
the last one, which was 2019, they were really pushing that Heritage Edition vehicle with the two red stripes, the
yeah.
370Z, and they had a big event for it. And I thought, well, that's kind of long in the tooth, but you know, they've kept some of their vehicles out there for a long time. Nissan, they just
Yeah,
refreshed the front or just renewed the Frontier, so that is a big thing to have done finally. I mean, that was one of the vehicles that people loved, and we loved them as automotive journalists. And it was just time for them to get it refreshed and get it renewed and get it to be on a new platform. So,
Well, that's why I
here we
wouldn't
go.
want to.
This
Okay.
is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin because you're on
Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
Hey, everybody out there in Radio Land, welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine, as is true every single week. We are here. I'm Les Jackson. Fred Staab is about to say hello.
Hello.
Hello, Fred. Very good, very good. Fred is at a loss for words, but he's not at a loss for stories because we got a lot.
We sure do, Les. And we're going to start with Kia revealing what they call the EV6. It's a battery electric vehicle that kind of gives us a glimpse into the future of Kia.
It does. And Jeep and Cadillac are having a big year so far in 2021, moving as much as they can build.
Yeah, and if you're going to go out and look for a vehicle this weekend, we've got an interesting study from the folks at IC Cars. We're going to talk about why, in certain cases, it's better to buy the new vehicle of a certain model than a used vehicle because the price differential is not that great.
That's exactly right. And if you're on your way to the Chevy dealer to buy a new 2021 Corvette, yeah, you may as well stay home because they stopped taking orders.
Yeah, they did. So they need time to build all the orders for the 2021, so it looks like it will be 2022. A lot of people are waiting. They wanted a specific color that was offered in the 2021 model year. They won't get it. They'll have to switch that up. But, hey, you got to roll with the punches, right, Les Jackson?
Yeah, usually they stop taking orders, most car companies, like in July.
Yeah, yeah, not so with the Corvette. But we're going to talk tech. Is hydrogen power coming to a delivery van near you? It was an interesting announcement this week in the European market, so we'll tell you if that's coming to the U.S. My answer is probably, but not right away. How about you?
I would say, yeah, maybe a couple years.
Yeah, all that and more when we come back on Cruise Control Radio, your on-air automotive magazine. We're going to get rolling. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. It's all there, cruisecontrolradio.com. Yes, when we come back, we are going to take you over to Seoul, Korea, where this week Kia announced the EV6. It's their first dedicated battery electric vehicle. Kind of gives a glimpse of what's to come at Kia. They're really stepping out. I mean, you think about the origins of Kia, Les Jackson. It was not as a technology leader, but things have changed.
It was, yeah, well, it's been 20 years.
Yeah. So we will be right back with Cruise Control Radio. Stay tuned. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. We'll be right back. All right. Well, we're glad you're along with us on YouTube and Facebook Live. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to talk when we come back to our radio show about this vehicle, Les Jackson, and that is the EV6. I'm going to need you to do some calculations here because it's talking about 100 kilometers range in less than 4.5 minutes when it comes to charging.
Okay, that's 60 miles.
Okay, and less than 4.5 minutes.
That's pretty good.
It's going to go to 80% battery in just 18 minutes. That's pretty cool, right?
It is. Again, this is happening with other companies. They're figuring out how to do this, hopefully, without hurting the battery.
Yeah, well, that's the thing we have a little bit of a concern with because it is really when you put that much heat into the battery, that can be destructive unless they manage it.
Yeah, but if the battery's cooled, you'll be okay. Now, remember, they have to compete with Toyota, and typical battery life in Toyota's electrics is 11 years.
You're talking about for the
For
Prius.
the hybrids, yeah.
Yeah. And these are going to be taking a lot more stress because, of course, in a hybrid, you do get the engine running from time to time and taking the load off the battery and that. So I think the developments will continue, but the pace has picked up, in my estimation.
Well, but if you think about it, you know, your smartphone battery is being worked every day.
Sure.
Charged every night.
Sure.
Lasts, what, 3-4 years?
Yeah, maybe more. I mean, I don't think people are going to really think about, oh, how am I treating my battery in an electric vehicle? They're just going to charge it up.
Sure.
And, you know, they're just going to hope that all the chargers are set, that they're not going to keep charging it, that, you know, they're going to charge it up however they feel comfortable. You know, they don't want to think about it. I mean, it's sort of like you wouldn't want to drive down the road and say, well, I just put gas in it. I don't know. I burned a half a tank. Maybe I should shut the engine off and let it cool down a little bit. People just use them, and that's how they're going to use battery electric vehicles.
Sure. Well, and that's what you expect.
All right. Well, we are coming back in, so here we go.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. We are glad you're along for the ride with us. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. And we're going to lead off with this story from Seoul, Korea, Les Jackson. It is a vehicle called the EV6. Comes from Kia. I'm not a big fan of this concept of every electric car has to be letters and numbers. I know you're not either.
No. Well, it's confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing, and I think there's just much more value and artistic nature to a car that has a name. But that's all right. Well, let's delve into it a little bit, shall we? It is a 800-volt ultra-fast charging battery. Has one of these. 10 to 80% charge in just 18 minutes. And 100 kilometers charge in less than 4.5 minutes. So 100 kilometers is what, 60 miles?
62 miles.
That's pretty good in 4.5 minutes, isn't it?
It is. It's very good.
I would say 4.5 minutes equates to the time it takes to fill your gas tank. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's an hour's driving.
Yeah. 0 to 100 kilometers, or 62 miles, basically, right, in 3.5 seconds with a top speed of 260 kilometers per hour. What's 260?
That would be 150.
I love the fact that Les can do this in his head. So I just
Well, I'm used to it.
Yeah. So what would you call it? It's sort of a low roofline crossover. We have some pictures up on our Facebook page to check out.
To me, it looks like a hatchback crossover.
Oh, did you say hatchback? Are we allowed to say hatchback?
I did.
It is has a spacious interior, of course, high-tech interior, and they're looking to. This is the kind of the lead-off batter for Kia. This is the lead-off batter when it comes to BEVs, battery electric vehicles, a dedicated platform. Of course, they've had the electric Soul and a couple of other cars, but this is strictly designed as an electric vehicle. It was nothing else. It started life as an electric vehicle. The long range, it's going to have a choice of a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. That's the long range one, or the standard range 58 kilowatt high voltage battery packs. It's going to be available with both. It will be available in two-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Two-wheel drive gets that 77.4 kilowatt hour battery, and it can travel 316 miles on a single charge in the combined WLTP cycle, which I'm not sure what country that's from. Is that from England?
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, but it could be technically a little bit lower when it comes to the EPA.
Yeah, and if you look at the front end, it has what they call a tiger face.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that term.
It's kind of a continue on the modern version of the tiger face that we see in Kia vehicles. I know Peter Schreier that designed this and designed a lot of Audis always talked about the tiger face. You know, the thing I like about it is that it is a vehicle, while modern, it certainly, if it drove past you, you wouldn't say, oh my, you know. It sort of looks like a Panamera in certain ways to me. It has a crossover, a sporty crossover look, I guess I would call it. They'll come up with some activity name for it, right?
It's a little tough to quite describe the look of it. I like it much more than a typical SUV look.
Yeah, and it is more of a cross. I call it a low crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's going to be filled with a lot of technology. By the way, it can also tow 1,600 kilograms. Les, could you convert that to pounds?
Wow, 1,600 kilograms is.
I hear the computer going.
Is 1,130 pounds.
All right, so a small trailer.
I'm sorry. 3,200 pounds.
So that could tow a trailer with a electric motorcycle on it or something.
A small boat or a motorcycle.
An additional battery with a plug.
It could tow a smart car.
That would be funny to just.
Why you would want to do that, I don't know.
Yeah, but hey, we'll have more about the EV6 from Kia coming up on Cruise Control Radio. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. Mr. Conversion there. He can do conversions in his head. That's amazing.
Yep.
All right. When we come back on Cruise Control, we're going to tell you about the big year Jeep and Cadillac are having and why it makes sense to buy certain cars new rather than used. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. We'll be right back. I tell you what, we're going to have a lot to drive and do our At the Wheel reviews. If you haven't checked it out, our YouTube page has a At the Wheel review of that Les did on the Elantra. So you want to check that out. Go over to Cruise Control Video. Cruise Control Video. We're thinking about changing the name of that. I don't know what to change it to, Les, because I didn't want to make it Cruise Control Radio because it's not radio, it's video on YouTube. What do you think?
Well, we want to leave cruise control in it.
I think cruise control, though, is probably already taken. Just cruise control.
How about windshield video?
Windshield video.
At the wheel video?
At the wheel video, maybe. Yeah, maybe that might be it. Cruise control at the wheel. Maybe something like that.
CC at the wheel video.
Yeah. We might do that. So anyway, if you have an idea for that, just give us a comment either on Facebook Live or our Facebook page, Cruise Control Radio Facebook page, or the Cruise Control Video page. currently call cruise control video. We'll see what we call it in the future. So you're a fan of this Kia vehicle?
I like it. I haven't driven it,
No, well,
obviously,
no, it's just revealed in Seoul.
but I find it appealing.
I find it appealing too. I think the styling does not say, "Hey, I'm trying to make this big statement." It's still a car or a vehicle that is styled and looks good, and I really think that that it will do well for them. I think they're on the ball, and you know what? They're going to sell it with everything, and I bet in true Kia fashion, the big battery will not be that much of an upgrade on the price.
Yep, that's right.
So it will be loaded with everything. So we're going to be coming back to the radio portion of our show in just a little bit. So, Les, I believe you will bring us in, and we're going to talk about Jeep, Ram, and Dodge selling a lot of cars.
In 5.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred here. I'm one of them. He's the other one.
Who?
And I'm not sure. What was your name, sir?
Let me check my nameplate.
Yes. And we just were talking about the new Kia Electric EV6, which has yet to hit the roads. But what is hitting the roads are Jeeps, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Dodges, a lot of them.
Yep.
And they're making, and that's what they love to hear, they're making as many or selling as many as they can make.
Yeah, tough year for the automakers, but not so much for Jeep, Ram, and Dodge when it comes to the first quarter sales for 2021. They are 25% better than those of the same period in 2020. Now, think about that. The pandemic was just getting started at this time. And so that actually, normally you would say, well, of course, there was a pandemic last year. But it was really just starting to happen in the first quarter. And now they are exceeding those numbers by 25%. I know a few people have bought new Jeeps and Dodges, and I guess they just felt like they had to get out there and buy something new, right?
Yeah, that's true. And a tremendous percentage of women are buying the Jeeps.
Mm-hmm. And it is the big seller, of course, is the Jeep Wrangler,
Yep.
Jeep Gladiator. Dodge muscle cars are improved by 29%, and the Durango sales increased by an astonishing 61%. That's interesting because Durango,
Well,
I like Durango, but I always felt it was, there's the Durango, but, you go for the Grand Cherokee,
Yeah, but when you're at the Dodge dealer buying your Demon,
and you need a support vehicle
and
for
you
it.
need an SUV to carry extra gas for it, you just buy the Durango.
I guess so. Best ever figures for Gladiator. They sold 18,822 vehicles in the first quarter, so that is huge. Ram.
That surprises me tremendously. That thing is $55,000.
Well, I guess people have a lot of money to spend on this stuff, or they're really good. They're really good at financing stuff. So, pretty cool. And big news there, but also big news. Oh, we talk about expensive things, Les. The Escalade is selling big. You want to talk about expensive? GM is enjoying remarkable success with that vehicle, and so much so that the company is working to reduce delivery times, and they just can't sell enough of them.
I mean, you see them everywhere. They're huge. They're around here in DC. They're almost always driven by one person, and usually that's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess, well, they obviously have a big family and they all that, but also there's just a tremendous sense of dominance over the highway.
Yeah, that
It's a
could.
big vehicle.
It's a big vehicle. That could be it. Believe it or not, the least expensive Escalade starts at over $76,000. That's just
Wow.
to get in the door of one of these things, and easily you can push that over $100,000 if you start ticking the boxes, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's good for the economy, though. I'm glad to see people buying things.
Well, I wish they'd just give us some of the money. You know,
Hopefully they have the money to buy it, and it's not.
well, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people lease these things, but still, it's a heck of a lot of money.
Yeah, sure is. It's a lot of chips there. Well, we're going to tell you about a way you can save some money or maybe make a better decision if you go into your dealer anytime soon. It's a study that was done by iSeeCars.com, and it says lightly used cars sometimes may not be the best choice because maybe it's even less expensive or very close to the price to buy a new model of that particular car or truck. So they analyzed asking prices for over 2.6 million new and used cars sold from August 2020 to March 2021. And they identified the top 15 cars that have the smallest price difference between new and one-year-old used versions of the same vehicle. So let's look at some of these models. The Tesla Model 3 differs only by 2.1%, so a $923 difference. There would be no reason not to buy a new one, would there?
Well, there are lots of reasons not to buy a used one.
There's maybe a lot of reasons just not to buy one.
Yes. I mean, you're risking a lot of quality control issues buying a new one. So, yeah, I agree with
well,
buying it new.
Well, they're saying, here's the other thing. I think the later in the model year or model build of a Tesla is probably better because the early cars, we know, Elon Musk says, hey, those are the beta testers, the ones that buy
they're the ones that had scraps from picket fences holding
and zip
holding
ties.
some of the components in.
And zip ties. It's like an
And
epic show.
zip ties. No, we're not exaggerating.
No, it's almost as if the guys from the show Roadkill showed up at the Tesla plant one day and said, you know how they do their zip tie moment? I mean, maybe that was Tesla's zip tie moment. I love that when they do the zip tie moment. Here,
It just looks like Jeremy Clarkson put them together.
Exactly. Now here's a different vehicle. Let's talk about this. The Toyota Tacoma pickup, certainly a solid offering, is 4.2% less than buying it new. So that means there's a $1,557 difference. I would still go for the new one at that price.
Oh, sure. So would I.
Yeah. Kia Telluride, they say if you buy a new one, it will cost you $2,456 more than a used one. The problem here is with the Telluride, it's in very short supply, so you may have to buy a used one if you want to find it. If you can even find a used one, that is a hot seller for Kia, and maybe you might consider a used one just because that's all you can get.
Well, the other thing you have to consider, though, is how many miles are on it, because when you buy something, you're buying something that's going to run for 200,000 miles.
Right.
And if it's got 50 on it already, a quarter of its life is gone. So even though it's only 4% less money, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of cherry pick some of these. Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, if you buy it new, you'll spend $2,808 more than buying one that is 1 year old. So far, I would say if it's under $5,000, probably, I would just buy.
I'd agree.
I would just
I'd
buy
agree.
the new one because you're buying. First of all, you can get what you want. You can get the color you want. You can get the options you want. And new is new, isn't it?
And if it's a used rental car,
Oh no. Although they say I know people that have bought them, but
I know
there's a lot of DNA in there.
But 200 to 400 people have driven that thing, not one of which has cared about potholes or anything else.
Yeah, that's true. That's
It's
true.
true.
Yeah. Well, hey, as I say too, there's a lot of extraneous DNA.
There's a lot of
Yes. Stuff.
human detritus.
All right. When we come back, we'll tell you more about some cars it's better to buy new than used, and a whole lot more on Cruise Control.
Some of the
Oh. Do you remember when on Top Gear they bought used cars and then they brought them to a lab to
Yes.
determine what was in there?
Yes. And there were some very disturbing things in there.
Which we won't say, but
No.
there are things you probably wouldn't want in your car or to be
If
in close proximity to.
Mhm.
That's the
And if they told me that my car had those rather disgusting things in it, I would have to get the pressure washer and a gallon of Clorox and delouse the car.
or just take all the seats out and get new seats and upholstery and and everything else. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. A neighbor of mine had a new vehicle, and she brought home some Italian food that had sauce on it, and they sat it in the bag on the
Okay.
seat, and the tin or whatever it was in leaked, and it went all through the upholstery, so it constantly smelled like some kind of sauce, right? They went back to the dealer. The dealer said it's going to be $3,000 for a new seat.
Ooh.
They contacted their insurance company. They said, we absolutely pay for that. They got the new seat through insurance. I didn't know insurance covered something like that.
I didn't know that either.
In 5.
All right, here we go. You're coming in, Les Jackson.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. Fred and I were talking about sometimes it's better to buy new than used.
Yeah.
I certainly agree. I think your $5,000 go no go number is pretty good.
Yeah. This is based around an IC Cars top 15 cars to buy new over used. They kind of looked at the price differential of cars that were 1 year old. Actually, I think it's kind of hard to find cars for sale that are just 1 year old. I mean, basically, you would be getting someone that either was hard, they had to sell it because they didn't have money to pay for it, or maybe they just made like a really bad choice, right, for them.
Well, yeah. And sometimes someone has leased it, and then they decided that it doesn't fit well, and the dealership has given them a deal to bring it in, lease something else.
Yeah. Well, In the case of the Jeep Gladiator, the difference between 1 year used and new is $3,373. Once again, under my $5,000 pain point, right?
That's right.
Really, when you look at this list from iSeeCars.com, the only vehicle that gets close to it is a Toyota 4Runner, which you would pay $4,909 more for new. And then a Chevy Silverado 1500, you would pay $5,072 more for that if you wanted it to be new. So what do you think about that? You agree with me that $5,000 number is a good one?
I would agree. I would agree because they have a list of cars that are much better off buying used than new, and things like the Hyundai Sonata, which is a great car.
Mm-hmm.
You save $10,000.
Yeah, well, that saving $10,000 is really good, isn't it? I mean,
it is.
It's a mixed bag. If you buy a car with good, good depreciation, or that doesn't depreciate much, like a Jeep Wrangler or some other vehicles like that, we could go through them. It's going to benefit you, but it's not going to, once again, it's this scenario where if it didn't depreciate that much, then it's better just to buy a new one. But certain vehicles, like I wonder right now how available the Kia Telluride is. If anyone's out looking for a Kia Telluride or has been shopping, just put some notes on our Facebook page and comments on our YouTube page. Cruise Control Radio Facebook.
I think you'll have a hard time finding one.
Yeah. That's one of the amazing stories that the Kia Telluride became, the hot vehicle, I guess, of 2020, right?
Absolutely. You know what is amazing to me? Used, talk about a great deal. Infinities are really have a tremendous value loss in the first year.
Really? So if you're looking for a luxurious car, nicely styled car, you can do well with that. What's the typical depreciation like?
30.9%.
Wow. So Infinity, if you're looking for a luxury car that has not been mistreated, I mean, imagine what the depreciation is like on, let's say, a certified pre-owned 3-year-old Infinity. You must be able to do pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. I think, and I like Infinities. I like the interiors. I like the general feel of them.
Uh-huh.
They're Nissans. They're great cars.
Yep, great bones. So, well, there you have it. Now, completely different situation for Chevy's Corvette. Chevy has stopped taking orders for the 2021 Stingray. And this was an article, I believe it was on CarBuzz. They called it a troubled launch of the C8 Corvette, citing the UAW strike, of course, the pandemic. Now they're delayed because of chip shortages and other parts shortages. Kind of, I guess it really is was a troubled launch, huh? But it is a big launch.
Yeah. But and really, a lot of this wasn't controllable.
No.
It's not like they made mistakes.
No.
It's just that their supply chain did break down. Now those are vendors. It's not Chevrolet.
No.
I'd say that they're in big trouble, the vendors.
Yeah. Well, also, too, the strike, the pandemic, just a number of things hit there. But the thing is, it's never bad to have people wanting more than you can make. So.
Well, true.
Yeah.
True.
Now, remember when they went from the original launch vehicle to the 2000 model year, actually the 2021 model year, I should say, people got like a lot more stuff. They got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay and a few other things. The situation with the 2022 model year is there's going to be some different colors. The 2022 Corvette won't be offered in Sebring Orange, which was a very popular color. And it won't be available in Zeus Bronze, which I remember seeing that color. It was kind of a different color for a Corvette, but I remember seeing one and it looked really nice. And Shadow Gray, you're going to be offered Hypersonic Gray Metallic, Caffeine Brown, and Amplify Orange tint coat options. So, you may have to swap a color. If you had your heart set on a certain color, you may have to be a little bit flexible.
Well, yeah. But again, there's more than one color that will appeal to anyone. So, would you not buy the car?
No, I mean, I think you're better off waiting. I just always think you're going to get more stuff.
I agree.
Now, one thing people might see if they get pushed to 2023 is they're going to do away with all those switches up on the center console that kind of run down the center like a spine of the console. They want to do away with them. It has all of the switches for heated seats and all kinds of things like that, and they're in a row. And it was a bit controversial, believe it or not. Some people find controversy in a lot of things.
Well, but some people, like me, like a lot of switches.
And
I don't want to have to,
go through
move my
menus.
finger across a screen.
So there you have it. If you ordered a 2022 and were pushed to 2023, there's a chance that you would be running your finger across the screen as opposed to pushing buttons.
What else would you buy if you have to wait?
I don't know. There are no used ones, are there? Or if they are, they're being sold at a high price. So
yeah, I wouldn't want that.
No. So, well, we'll have to see how that all works out. But of course, a lot of things conspiring against the C8 Corvette when it comes to production of that. Here's an interesting story. Kind of sad in a way. Mitsubishi is auctioning off its entire UK heritage fleet. They have 14 vintage cars that they're selling. They're exiting the United Kingdom's market in the fall of 2021, and the 14 classics need to go. They're going to put them out to bid for enthusiasts, including a 1974 Lancer 1400, which was the first Mitsubishi ever registered in the United Kingdom. It was displayed at the 1974 edition of the British Motor Show. And so that one is going to be for sale. There's a Lancer Evolution. I love the Evo, didn't you?
The Evo was great fun to drive. A tremendous torque steer.
Yeah.
But boy, was it a hoot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was, though it did suffer from the fact that it was built around an economy car, and you were spending big money for the power and some of the all-wheel drive system and that. But when you looked at the build of the car and the inside, it was like, well, this is an economy car, isn't it?
Yeah. It was, and the WRX Subaru outsold it.
Yeah. Mitsubishi, let's see, also has a short wheelbase Shogun, which was sold as the Montero in the United States. They even have a Jeep, the J27, which was licensed from Willys and was given a full restoration in the 2000s. So if you're in the UK and you're interested in Mitsubishis, that heritage fleet is going to be going up for sale. So stay tuned to Cruise Control Radio. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. When we come back, we're going to tell you about some hydrogen power and more. So keep it tuned. All right. Kind of sad, though, them selling their history off, isn't it?
Well, it is. I'd sure like to have that 3000 GT.
Yeah, that would be great. They also have a 7/10 scale replica of the Model A. which is weird. I don't know how that got in there.
I don't know. Why? What do you do with it?
I don't know. You just hang it from the ceiling, I guess. I don't know. What would you do with that? Tell us drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Cruise Control Radio Facebook page, or Cruise Control Video on YouTube. Just drop us a comment in that, and we will see. What would you do with that scale model? I don't know. I don't know. Some of the things I just don't know what you would do with them. We're going to talk about this in a little bit. Bugatti Chiron's, that is the correct pronunciation, Chiron.
Oh, I thought it was Chiron.
Well, Chiron was a company that also a Greek name that used to build graphic systems for television.
Right.
And
the letter display that.
Yeah, lower thirds and stuff. I love how on the grill of this Bugatti, they have 16 stenciled in there for the W16 engine. And didn't they have a race car that had 16 on the grill like that?
Well, I don't know about on the grill, but the BRM of the 50s had a 16-cylinder. You ready for this?
Yes.
A 16-cylinder, 1.6 liter.
How small were the cylinders?
400 horsepower engine, and if it was allowed to rev to 12,000 RPM, it put out 700 horsepower.
So, how small were those cylinders? If you got 16 of them,
yeah. Well,
and were they the size of a Red Bull can? Like
I'd say, probably less than that. Maybe a silver dollar.
Wow. So,
it's my favorite engine ever because it was so incredibly complicated that it would only appeal to people like me.
Well, you were talking about how there's a lot of money around. Do you realize they built 300 of these? 300.
And they're $2 million apiece.
$2 million apiece. Of course, you get over 1,000 horsepower. So.
Well, gee.
And don't the tires cost $17,000?
$17,000 a set. That was told to me by the manufacturer.
Wow. And the tune-up is like an oil change or something. It's like $8,000, I believe.
Oh yeah,
I never understood that because it's got to be an oil filter and a draining oil.
Well, it has 10 radiators.
so
10 radiators. I believe it has 4 oil coolers and either 4 or 8 oil filters.
Oh, God. Okay, well.
Pretty complicated.
Pretty complicated. I'll bring us in.
In 5.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control Radio, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. We are taking you on a ride around the automotive industry. We're glad you're here. Covering a lot of bases this day on Cruise Control, including this next story, Les. And I want to ask you about this because we've had the folks on from Toyota with the Mirai talking about fuel cells, hydrogen fuel cells. So you fuel up much like a car that you would take into a gas station, and then it makes it into electricity, and it's basically an electric car after that.
Right.
So Stellantis is launching 3 hydrogen electric commercial vans in Europe in the 2021 model year. One of them has a great name. Well, 2 of them have a great name. One's called the Expert, and the other one is known as Jumpy.
Jumpy, I'm not too fond of.
Jumpy, it would make a great coffee delivery truck, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are commercial vans. They're going to be in select markets in the UK and European worlds. And they will consist of a fuel stack located under the hood, 3 hydrogen tanks in the cargo compartment, and a 10.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack behind the driver's seat. They'll put out about 121 horsepower to the front wheels, and a 31-mile range on electricity alone, and about 250-mile range with a full charge and a full load of hydrogen. And the van will take approximately 3 minutes to refill its hydrogen tank.
Well, I've actually done that at a hydrogen station a few years ago. The Honda Clarity was here in DC, and they had a hydrogen station over in Northeast DC, and it was like a gas pump. You plugged it in with a special fitting, and you turned it on, and it shot liquid hydrogen into the tank. Took about 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like what they call a bayonet connector on it, right? Like almost like
very
what
simple.
you fuel a jet with,
Right. You stick it in, and then you move the handle 90 degrees, and it locks itself down.
Yeah, so it won't blow out. Yeah. Prediction, I mean, with battery, what we're going to talk about next hour, Mercedes having a battery-powered vehicle that has 478 miles of range, and you can recharge quickly. You can get 186 miles in 15 minutes or something like that. Do you think when you have battery vehicles like that, and they'll get better, do you think that we will see the continued development of hydrogen when you can just recharge quickly, and it will probably only get better with batteries? What do you think?
I think we will, and the reason we will is because one of the plans for fuel cells is to have many thousands of them, small generating plants located in certain urban areas, or some of these urban village type areas. Because there'll be so many of these generating power, why not have more fuel cell vehicles on the road? Then you have infinite range.
Well, let's also remember, too, this hydrogen power would take the load off the electric grid because there really isn't a plan to enhance the electric grid right now.
Well, there's a proposed infrastructure bill, but it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I would say any of those things, those projects. I mean, I remember watching a documentary, and they say government projects should take 50 years to do.
It can, sure.
Yeah, so.
Well, the interstate system took 20 years.
Yeah. I think this would take the load off the grid in the meantime.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree. And there's hydrogen, there's plenty of it in the universe.
And I really think, too, people have to not get locked in to electric only. They have to think about about it, in a different way, that there are other options, other clean options out there that can be used. So there you have it.
Yeah, alcohol, I mean, that is an alternative.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Bugattis. From hydrogen electric vehicles to Bugattis. Here's what we're talking about: the Chiron. There have been 300 of these built in Molsheim, France, since 2016. This is the Chiron Per Sport 2, and this is your bespoke hypercar. Isn't that amazing?
You promised not to use that word.
Bespoke. I actually saw somebody on YouTube that had tires that said bespoke on them. They glued the letters onto them.
Give me their address.
Powered by an 8-liter W16, putting out 1,500 horsepower. And it has a red line of 6,900 RPM, which is actually not crazy at all. What do you think of this? Can you believe that they have sold 300 of them since 2016?
There are an awful lot of very, very wealthy people.
I have to say the design on the side, the C design, looks much better when the vehicle is all black. It looks better to me in black. It has the little rounded grille in the front that reminds me of the older Bugatti race cars, and I guess that C shape on the side is kind of a they're playing off that shape and just turning it on side.
I'm not fond of black cars. I'd rather see the car in just one color, though, not two-tone.
Yeah, the two-tone never looked good on that, but
don't like it.
It's not really a problem. But let's do another jump to a completely different story. Has this ever happened to you, or has that ever happened to anyone before? An owner of an old Buick Century went into an Albertsons grocery store in New Mexico. He came out, got in his car to drive off with his packages, and noticed that there were 15,000 bees creating a new hive in his car. He doesn't know why this happened, but he quickly called the fire department, and luckily for the bees and for the guy that owned the Buick, there was a guy named Jesse Johnson who is a firefighter and a hobbyist beekeeper. He went to his house and got all his equipment and basically got all these bees out of this guy's car without killing the bees, because bees are having a tough time of it these days.
Yeah.
And he was just lucky. He was just lucky to have a firefighter that knew what to do and had the gear and said, I'll go home and get my stuff, right?
I know what happened here.
What happened?
Buick used to have a color called honey gold.
You think
and
that?
I think the car was painted in that color.
Well, it's interesting that they spray something lemongrass smell that smells like the queen bee, and that's what attracted these bees away from the Buick Century and into the hive, I guess, the new hive. But there you go. There's a strange automotive story for you. Hey,
that's right out there.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control Radio. Don't forget to check us out at Facebook and on YouTube and all over the place. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.
All righty. Don't forget, folks, we've got another hour coming up. Got a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to tell you about Hyundai's new pickup truck, Les. That has been something in the making for a while. And then that Mercedes EQS, incredible range. Also, Nissan's 370 sales are plummeting. We'll tell you how many they're selling.
That's right.
Or not
and
selling.
The VW's ID4 is outselling the Mach-E.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about CV2X and how it can keep kids safer when they're getting off of school buses. That's a technology I think that we're going to see a lot more of, and Audi is working on that. And then another reveal, this time it is the Genesis X, which is going to be a very cool-looking car.
That is one slick car.
That's going to be their halo car, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I'm going to have a review of the 250 Lexus 250h, which is their all-wheel drive, their small crossover. Very stylish. We'll talk a little bit about that. Very compact, easy to drive. stylish on the inside, and we'll give you some ideas about that in our ad.
And I'm currently testing the Lexus NX300H.
Oh, cool. We have an at-the-wheel review next week on that?
I will have an at-the-wheel review next week on that.
All right. Well, also, don't forget to check out our at-the-wheel reviews and videos on our Cruise Control video page, which is available on YouTube. And if you're watching us live on YouTube, then you can check that out when you're done. Don't forget to subscribe, because we love having subscribers. Also, we say hello to our Facebook Live audience. We are glad you were with us, and we are going to be doing more and more Facebook Lives and YouTubes in the upcoming weeks. We're going to have some great guests coming up, so keep it tuned to Cruise Control Radio. If you don't already know, we also do a radio show live at the same time.
That's what this is.
That's what this is. So it's a little bit of everything, and we love all of our listeners or viewers, whatever way you watch us, and also our podcast listeners who check us out, the audio version of the podcast on Apple Podcasts and all kinds of things like that, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Pandora, all that, and more. So plenty
That's
more
right.
coming up on Cruise Control Radio. Right, Les Jackson?
We've been on the air so long that we used to do, wasn't a podcast, it was by telegraph.
It was Morse code.
It was Morse code, which
Morse code.
we weren't really good at.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. A little I love to pull this site up, the 365 Days of Motoring lesson. They talk about some of the things that have been done or occurred in automotive history on these days. And this was an interesting one. 25 years ago, the Museum of Modern Art in New York City placed the Jaguar E-Type in its permanent exhibit. It was the third car to be honored by the curators, and they called the E-Type the epitome of Jaguar's exquisite feel for body design. I would agree, wouldn't you?
Yes. Enzo Ferrari called it the most beautiful vehicle he ever saw.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a rave right there. So that was kind of cool. That happened on Wednesday, the 3rd of April, 1996. And then a little bit stranger one. You know those little dots in the road? Well, in England they have them. They're a little bit different. They're sort of like a little bit of a bump in the center of the road with two reflectors. And those were developed on April 1934, a British patent application for the first cat's eye road marker. Was invented by Percy Shaw, and he called them improvements relating to blocks for road surface. And they call it a cat's eye. It kind of looks like a cat looking right at you. Also, these were modified by a guy named Botts in the U.S., and these are the kind of the dot that's in the center of the road. It's not necessarily in a metal container like they have them in the UK, and they're called Botts dots. And Caltrans, a guy in Caltrans came up with those, and they are glued down. His name was Elbert Dysart Botts, a California Department of Transportation engineer. And those are those little pieces of adhered reflective type, product that's in the middle of the road. I find them pretty useful at night, don't you?
Me too. They're really a great idea.
Yeah. So you have the cat's eye in Europe, which looks like it's made out of a piece of cast iron with two reflector and box dots in the U.S. Ours are a little bit easier to put in. You don't have to cement them in. But if you ever wonder what they are, that's what they're called. They're called box dots in the road. So if you're traveling down the road, next time you see them, you'll think about that, right?
Cool.
Yeah. All right. And who's going to come in this hour?
you are coming in this time.
All right, I will be ready. We are going to go live on the radio version of the show, but we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control or watching Cruise Control on YouTube and Facebook Live, and we're going to try to start streaming to some other outlets as well. So a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm coming in about 30 seconds. Our first story up is going to be the new Santa Cruz pickup truck. I'll give you a little tease of it. There it is. Much talked about. So we'll talk about that in just a couple of seconds.
In 5.
This is Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control Radio, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. I'm Fred Staab, and he is none other than Les Jackson. Les Jackson is with us, as always, and we are going to take you on a ride around the automotive industry, starting with Hyundai teasing its new pickup truck, the Santa Cruz. Les, they have talked about this for a long time. Now it's finally happening, and actually the teaser photos are pretty clear.
They are pretty clear, and over at Mercedes, they're doing away with electric range anxiety. They soon be revealing the EQS. It'll have 478 miles of range and can fast charge over 180 miles in just 15 minutes.
Wow. And from one of the newest vehicles that's not even out yet to one, well, it's been around for a long time and sales are going down. Nissan's 370Z. Sales are plummeting. Everyone's waiting for the new vehicle. We'll tell you how far they're plummeting. Maybe it's an opportunity to buy a classic.
It could be, and VW's ID4 is outselling the Mustang Mach-E, but both of them are selling well.
Yeah, we'll talk about both of them. We're going to talk tech, school bus safety. It's real important with people going back to school. It's about to get better because of a new technology called CV2X, and we'll tell you all about it.
And Genesis has revealed its spectacular outdoing Aston Martin in appearance, the Model X.
Yeah, I think you're right. That is going to be their Aston Martin Vantage, isn't it?
It is just beautiful.
We'll talk about that, and I'll have an at-the-wheel review of the Lexus 250h. Great little hybrid from Lexus. All that and more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control Radio. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and more. All there. Les, what do you think? You're loving this Genesis Model X. I agree with you. I think this is going to be their Aston Martin.
It's really, it's just voluptuous looking. It's just spectacular.
Yeah, and it carries over the themes, all the themes of the Genesis vehicles of the past. It even has some recycled leather interior from scraps of leather. We'll talk about that. Beautiful two-door, great proportions in the vehicle. Has the slatted headlights and taillights that we've seen on other vehicles. So really cool. Very, very cool. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more when Cruise Control gets rolling. So stay tuned. Keep it buckled up. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We will be right back with Cruise Control. I think you hit it on the head. I think this is definitely their Aston Martin fighter.
Yeah,
it-
and
it's not going to be $250,000 either, is it?
no. And Aston Martin has always been my favorite supercar.
Oh, I agree. I mean, when you see one,
'Cause
it
they're
makes a statement.
so elegant.
Yeah,
But this thing, boy, oh boy.
yeah, yeah. Pretty slick. And Genesis just is not everything they build is very, very cool. Of course, they've got into the SUV world. I don't know. I haven't been in the 70 yet, the GV70. I've been in the GV80, which is amazing. And people would just walk up and say, "What is this? Wow."
Yeah. Notice the door hinge on this thing?
Yeah, it's huge. It's
Just monster.
because it's a huge door. You don't want to have problems like they used to with GM vehicles. Ask me how I know that the personal luxury cars that had gigantic doors where the hinge would wear out and you'd open the door and it would drop 2 inches.
That was very common in
Yeah,
a lot of cars.
yeah, I remember that and dealing with it. So that was a problem. I'm sure they've engineered that out. Well, you're going to bring us in, and we're going to talk about the Santa Cruz, which I recall them talking about the Santa Cruz truck a long time ago, but you're going to tell us about it, so stay tuned. And we've got about a minute to go, actually. So, yeah, the Santa Cruz, they've talked about that for a long time, Les, and I'm kind of glad to see it coming out. I remember seeing concepts of that years ago. It may not have been called the Santa Cruz, but it just makes sense that they are going to get into that realm of small pickup trucks. Kind of looks to me to be very similar to the Ridgeline, doesn't it?
It's very similar to the old Subaru Brat.
I thought that too. When I saw it.
But that was a long time ago.
Yes. Yeah, but these teaser photos are pretty clear.
In 5.
All right.
It's interesting.
You're going to be coming in, Les Jackson.
Cruise Control.
We're back to Cruise Control. Welcome. It's your on-air automotive magazine. Les and Fred here, and as promised, we're going to
introduce
you to the Subaru. The Subaru.
See, got you.
They did get me. The Hyundai Santa Cruz that they've been teasing for a long time. It's a small pickup truck.
Yeah.
And
it's going to
they're finally showing some drawings.
Yeah, the drawings are really don't leave a lot to the imagination. You can see sort of, you had a Hyundai that you reviewed last week on Cruise Control, the Elantra, and actually the review is up on our YouTube page, Cruise Control Video, YouTube page, Cruise Control Video. It's got sort of that triangular shape on the side. It does look very reminiscent of a Subaru Brat. It is a small vehicle, a small unitized type construction. It is not body on frame. It's going to be revealed officially, digitally, no surprise there, on April 15th at 9 a.m. on HyundaiUSA.com. We'll be talking about that. But it is they're going to start playing in the world of I guess where Honda has been playing in the with their vehicles, the Ridgeline. What do you think? I mean, it's a very short bed, really, isn't it?
It is, but they call it a flexible bed, so
there might be a mid-gate.
I think it probably can extend a little bit with the tailgate, probably go in a little bit toward the rear seat.
Yep. It's interesting that they're calling it an entirely new vehicle category. You're right. Multi-utility, secure open beds, diverse gear carrying flexibility. Man, does the same person write all this stuff?
Probably.
Yeah. And
But yeah, I think it'll be a big seller. You know, pickup trucks are different now than they used to be. They're people prefer shorter beds,
mm-hmm.
so I think it'll go.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know what you would describe it. They'll have some other name for it. They call it an SAV, Sport Adventure Vehicle. We don't have much more information on this, but I think the design looks great. I just don't know how big the market will be for this. Can it support Ridgeline and this? Well, we'll have to see, right?
Yeah. Well, once again, they've demographic me out of the running here. This, you know, sport adventure, whereas I'm much more active couch potato.
Okay. Well, let's talk some tech here. This is the Mercedes EQS. The Mercedes EQS, another vehicle that's going to be revealed very soon. And it's crazy, the numbers they're coming up here with, that it will have a huge range of more than 435 miles. It's going to be sold with a variety of battery options, including a 108 kilowatt pack that will provide the highest range. And according to Mercedes, up to 186 miles of range can be added in just 15 minutes using a high-speed charger. The other neat thing, Les, is it's going to be the slickest production vehicle ever built with a drag coefficient of 0.20.
Boy.
The Toyota Prius right now holds the record with a coefficient of 0.24. That's going to come off as downright boxy when the EQS comes in, right?
And don't ask me why I know this, but I just never forgot. The GM electric car of the mid-90s, the EV1.
Right.
That had a drag coefficient of 0.19.
Oh, my. Oh, my. So,
but remember, it looked almost like an airplane.
I thought it looked nice. I really liked the EV1. I mean, it had old technology, but
26 lead acid batteries.
Wow. Imagine if they came up with something like that now with the modern battery technology. It would be great.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is really exciting. Once again, this will also be revealed on April 15th. And you talk about battery advancements. They're coming fast here. And we will keep you up to date at Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. And we are taking on a ride around the automotive industry. Coming up, we will talk about Nissan's 370Z. Time for it to retire. It's not selling well, but maybe you want one. We'll talk about that and more on Cruise Control. A lot of reveals coming up. We'll try to get some guests on to talk about these vehicles. They're pretty exciting. I'm excited about this Mercedes because you think about that. 186 miles in 15 minutes. That's a bathroom break on a road trip, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, typically, if I'm on the road, I stop for 15 minutes, just to sort of stretch.
Yeah, stretch and move around a little bit. And I think it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. I think there will come a time when you'll be able to charge your car at the same speed as we do now with
oh, sure.
With putting gasoline in it. So as we always say, it takes about 5 minutes, right, to put gas in it?
Yeah. No, I fully agree.
Yeah. So what will it do to the electric grid? What will it do to the batteries with your pumping so much voltage in there? Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it?
It does, but it's an engineering problem. It's not a physics problem.
Yeah, it's not a insurmountable situation. So, lot of reveals. Genesis X, the EQS, the Santa Cruz. It's been nonstop, hasn't it, with reveals?
It has, and it's going to pick up during the spring, late spring.
Yeah, so we're here to cover it on Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. It's all the links right there to our Facebook page and our Twitter feed and all that and more. We'd like to keep you up to date. There's so much information. We're trying to drive the cars as fast as they come out, and I'm going to have
and as fast as they can go.
And as fast as they can go. I have a Lexus 250h to review today, so we'll get to that a little bit later on. But, Les, are you going to bring us in, or is it me?
I think it's me.
All right. Well, we'll be coming back in just a little bit on the live radio show. Don't forget to check us out, as I said, at cruisecontrolradio.com. Also, check out the podcast edition of the show. We're available on Apple iTunes, or it's now called Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Stitcher, all that and more. So no reason for missing a show, right, Les?
Only being jealous that you can't be in the cars with us.
Well, we like to share. So here we go. Les Jackson, you're bringing us in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Well, those of you that are looking for a Nissan 370Z, which admittedly isn't very many,
No,
because they haven't been selling well. It's a little long in the tooth, and actually the GTR outsells them.
yeah.
And that's the most advanced supercar you can get for the money.
Yeah, it is long in the tooth. When did that come out? I'm going to say,
Boy,
2006, something like that.
I think about 2004.
Wow.
I'll check.
So just so you know, guess how many they have sold so far in the first 3 months? How many
Like
of
hundreds?
the 28?
Oh my gosh.
It represents a 95% drop compared to the same period last year.
Gee.
So that tells me if you want one, you should be able to deal, shouldn't you?
You'd think.
I mean, it is a car that's been around for a while. It has been updated. But, gosh, the last time I drove one must have been 2010, I think. And
Yeah, it was introduced, by the way, in 2008. So
okay.
that's still 13 years ago.
Yeah. This article, which I believe was in Car Buzz, calls it the elderly performance car.
Well, now,
That's interesting. Of course, the Rogue is the big seller for the folks over at Nissan, and they've just refreshed that, and it looks great and does well for them.
I would call it the arthritic performance sedan.
Would you buy one if you could get it for a really good deal?
Oh, yeah. If I wanted one and I could get a really good deal, I'd buy it.
Yeah. I mean, as we say, it's a proven product, but it really is long in the tooth. Well, while we're on sales, let's talk a little bit about Volkswagen's ID4 and the Mustang Mach-E. Sales of those have been doing well, but it appears the Volkswagen ID4 is outselling the Mach-E. And this is in the first quarter of 2021. Why is that? I don't know.
I think uh, I think Volkswagen has a wider um, envelope of buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Mach-E, I think, is going to appeal probably more toward men. That's a guess.
Okay. The numbers aren't huge for any of them. VW in the first months of 2021 sold 474 ID4s. And then they are on track to sell 5,688 units in a full calendar year, which still doesn't sound like much.
Well,
Ford sold 3 Mustang Mach-E units in December 2020, followed by 238 units in January. In February, though, they reached 3,739 units. So,
well, again, they're electric cars, so that market is still growing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that market is.
And the e-Golf still was selling.
Yeah, the e-Golf, they sold 22 of those so far in 2021. Interesting. That was kind of a compliance car, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wonder how much they would cost used.
That's a good question. I have a friend that has one, and she loves it. She talks about it all the time. And she says she's going to keep it until the ID Buzz, the van, is available. But she's definitely going to buy one of those when it comes out.
I really enjoyed driving it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a great way to dip your toes into the electric world. I don't know what the range is. Do you know what the range is on the?
It's only about 180 miles, I think.
Yeah. Not bad, though, and in a proven platform, too. So good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, you're listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Let's talk a little tech, shall we? And this involves a company called Bluebird. If you've ever gone to school, you've probably ridden on a Bluebird bus.
Or one of the shuttle buses at airports. They're always Bluebirds.
Yeah, or they used to make the Bluebird Wonder Lodge, which was a motorhome, a very luxurious motorhome. I always thought that was a pretty good name, Wonder Lodge. But anyway, they are the largest manufacturer of school buses in the U.S., and they are working with Audi to develop this CV2X technology, which is going to be able to, it's called cellular to everything, CV2X. I guess I don't quite know how that comes out as CV2X, but it is really, the real name is cellular vehicle to everything. And it is aimed at reducing the hazards of kids getting off school and running out, and or people not stopping their vehicles when the lights are on, school bus lights are on. And they're going to try to prevent accidents during this student pickup and drop-off when students are more at risk. So the idea is, to me, it seems sort of like a localized version of how you get speed information and stop sign information on your car right now. This is going to be a localized version of it, and what will happen is it will warn drivers that, hey, there's a school bus up ahead, and they're going to be making a stop, and that you will be prepared to stop. It will come up on your screen. I think it's a great idea, don't you?
I think it's terrific. There fortunately aren't a huge number of school bus crashes every year, but there are some.
Yeah.
With injuries, usually not many deaths, just injuries.
What are the numbers for people going around school bus lights?
That's a crisis.
Do you remember
everywhere in the country, and just here locally in D.C., the counties are pretty average all around here. The counties in Maryland and Virginia are saying that about 1,500 tickets a month
Wow.
for each county for people going around school buses.
Wow. And it's a big ticket, isn't that? That's probably a
Oh,
thousand
boy.
plus ticket, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you remember that viral video? The school bus every day, they would stop to pull up to pick up a kid. They put the lights on, put the sign out, and then somebody would come down the street and drive up on the sidewalk in their car to avoid it and go right down the block. So this kept happening. So the school bus driver put some GoPros in the bus and got footage of this. And the police said, that's very interesting. They're like, they do this every day? And they're like, yeah, do it every day, 7 days a week. They said, okay. So here's the video once again. It's like it's all set up. You know, the bus comes in, the lights go on, the stop sign comes out. Here comes this lady around the corner. She jumps the curb, drives up on the sidewalk, and in the best moment, as she's about to come off the curb at the end of the block, a police car pulls out and a cop points to her. Stop.
Beautiful.
I mean, and what? There's no way to say. You just can't say anything other than, okay, here's my license and registration.
I suspect the woman was pretty full of herself.
Yeah. Well, she was her wallet was a lot less full. After that.
Probably argued with the police.
Well, we're going to have more Cruise Control coming up, so stay tuned. The Genesis X on Cruise Control when we come back. Ooh. Yeah, there's no sense in fighting it. They have video of you, and the cops saw you do it. So
yeah,
you can just say no excuse, and that's it. You know, I'll take what I have coming to me.
Why would someone do that?
What is the penalty for driving on the sidewalk? Even if there was no, if you just drove on the sidewalk and down the street, that's unsafe operation of a motor vehicle.
That's reckless driving.
Yeah.
Probably a couple offenses. I would say it's a $500 fine.
Yeah. And then you couple not stopping for a school bus.
Oh, that's serious.
We're probably into the $5,000 range and serious points. But I loved how they gathered the video of it for a week, so so they knew it was, it's open. What do they call that? An open and shut case.
Open and shut case.
Yeah. No.
Boy.
Like I say, no. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. It is just take your lumps. Hey, we got more to get to. We're going to talk about this Genesis X next. And we're also going to talk an interesting story about the Bondurant driving school. It's being brought back by a television presenter, as they would say in the country where he's
Yes, that's right. By the way, I just checked on the local area fine for driving on a sidewalk.
Uh-huh.
6 points on your driver's license.
Oh, wow.
And $500.
Wow. I'm going to bring us in.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control Radio, your on-air automotive magazine. Alessa, what's that update? If you drive on the sidewalk...
Here in the suburbs around D.C., it's 6 points on your driver's license.
Woo.
And $500.
Wow. 6
And
points.
don't do it a second time.
How many points can you get on your license before they just say maybe you shouldn't drive?
12. At 12, they take your license away.
So you're halfway there if you drive on the sidewalk.
Yeah, you're halfway there.
Yeah. So this person we were talking about, we don't know where they were or whatever, but if they got 6 points for that, and I'm sure you get some points for
for passing a school bus, that I think I think around here you actually automatically lose your license for 30 or 60 days, and it's a huge fine.
Yeah, so that's certainly this person probably lost their license, but I'll never
Yeah.
forget the cop car just pulling right out and blocking the road. It's like, uh-oh. There's nothing you can do. It's like, yeah, well. Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. We are going to talk about a very cool vehicle from the folks at Genesis. And they have made a two-seater. Well, it's not actually a two-seater. It's actually a four-seater. It's a concept car. It was revealed this week, and it was a world premiere, once again, on a private rooftop in Los Angeles. Les, did you get your invite?
It must have been lost in the mail.
Okay. Well, while people are out there living it up with the beautiful people, we'll tell you about this concept. It is the ultimate vision of athletic elegance. Okay. Here comes the PR speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is a very low and broad silhouette in the front, and it has the crest grille, which of course is a marker for the Genesis brand. It has the lights that come around the side of the vehicle that kind of wrap around headlights. And it is Genesis has maximized the concept car's sporty sensibility by incorporating two-layered turbine-type alloy wheels with 5 spokes. It is a beautiful vehicle. You can check out some of these things on our Facebook page if you want to check it out. But this is a beautiful vehicle. Would you say this will probably be an electric vehicle? I would say eventually it will be.
Is it electric?
I don't know. We don't really know. It's a concept.
I don't care. I just want it.
Yeah, it's also
It's voluptuous. It's provocative.
yeah.
It's just, and it's elegant.
Yeah, it certainly is elegant. It really is. And I can't wait to drive this. It has a single panel-based clamshell hood. And you know this is PR speak. It's resulting in one clean, central, and uninterrupted surface. PR speak, Les Jackson.
That's PR speak. You're right.
Yeah, so it's there. But exciting car. No word on when this is going to be showing up, but it is certainly slick and is going to, as we said before, everything that Genesis has done in the recent days.
This looks like a custom car that Dave Kindig and his crew would have built for somebody rich and charged, $400,000.
And they would have built it from a Camaro or something and took the whole
Yeah.
body apart. Yeah, exactly. Genesis X concept interior also shows off sustainability, the use of upcycled leather materials that were made out of pieces of leftover leather from previous manufacturing processes were used for bits of the safety belts, parts of the steering wheel, and an airbag cover. And that highlights its eco-friendliness. So no word on when that's going to show up or what price. I know, Les Jackson, you put in an order already, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm going to get a maroon one.
Maroon with a tan interior?
With a biscuit-colored interior.
Sounds good. Sounds nice. Sounds like a nice one. They have they show the concept in that green. It's like
That's a car that would make anybody look cool.
Even us?
Even us.
Okay. Well, there you go. That is a big task at hand, but for both of us. But let's talk a little bit about the Bondurant Driving School. Les, there is a name, of course. Bob Bondurant ran it for many years. It went bankrupt, and it closed its doors in 2018. But now it's being rebranded. And it's going to be owned by some interesting folks. They're going to call it Radford Racing. which is a name that is famous for a coach builder out of London in the 1940s. Harold Radford was first a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley dealer before he began making special bodies for Bentleys with bigger trunks, fold-down seats that became a bed, tables with mirrors, and more. And in the 60s, he started making special minis. I wonder if they had beds and tables with mirrors too.
Yeah,
That would be quite an accomplishment, don't you think?
I would think so. Yes.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that the new team includes Ant Anstead, who was I really like watching him on Wheeler Dealers.
Yeah, me too. He's leaving Wheeler Dealers to get some of his own shows. He's launching a couple of shows, but very talented mechanic and a great TV presenter, as they would say.
Very engaging guy. Jensen Button, Formula One driver, champion.
Mm-hmm. And car designer Mark Stubbs. I'm not sure what he's designed.
It's familiar. I'll think of it eventually.
And then there's a business partner, Roger Belly. They want to revive the Radford brand as a modern lifestyle brand that celebrates auto design, performance, high-performance driving, and racing. The Radford School will be continue to be the home of Dodge and SRT, who are the primary sponsors, while other high-performance vehicles, including the Challenger SRT, Hellcat, Charger SRT, Hellcat, Durango SRT, are some of the options available. The school also features purpose-built Liger JS F4 open-wheel vehicles, vintage. It actually says this: vintage and dangerous Dodge Vipers, go-karts, and more. They've resurfaced the track. It's the first time it's been resurfaced in 30 years. Enhancements to the event center, visitor center, student lounge, and elsewhere. And it has also diversified its offerings with new classes on open-wheel race cars and drag racing. Wow. Now, I don't think the Radford name resonates here. I want to look it up because it's interesting, cars with beds and tables with mirrors, but certainly an interesting crew of owners, wouldn't you say?
Yes, indeed. And by the way, Stubbs designed for Aston Martin, Bugatti, Bentley.
So he's a player.
He's a serious player.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. Wow.
It is cool.
Yeah. Jumping over to something completely different, we told you a little bit about this vehicle, and this is Subaru. They released this. It's called the Outback Wilderness, new for 2022. It is the most rugged and capable Outback in the history of Subaru. It's got a 9.5-inch ground clearance, upgraded suspension, all-terrain tires, advanced X mode for increased capability, unique exterior and interior. You look at this very tough-looking vehicle. I want to give you some of the differences here on the height of it. The standard Outback base is 66.1 inches high. This is 66.9 inches high. The approach angle on the standard Outback base is 18.6. It's 20 on this Wilderness. The departure angle is 21.7 on the Outback base, 23.6 on the Wilderness. Very cool looking vehicle. Interesting that they're even toughening it up more. I will tell you, I've driven Outbacks in the mud, the standard ones, and I was surprised at the ability they could handle. I've driven them at IMPA events on the muddy course.
They're terrific in the snow.
Yeah. So just enhancing that even more is exciting. Hey, when we come back, we've got an at-the-wheel review of the Lexus 250h, so stay tuned to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staab. He's Les Jackson. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We will be right back, so keep it buckled up. and good car sound at the end.
That's
Yeah,
a
little
car
digital-
right out my
little digital
window.
there at the end.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Well, we got the cool Ux250 Lexus 250h. If I can open my Monroney for that so I can give you a full report. It doesn't look like it wants to open. That's
It won't be cheap.
No. Let's see. Open with that. Well, that's unfortunate. I can't open my Monroney for this.
Have you,
there you
seen
go.
the Bronco ads?
I have not seen the Bronco ads.
They're very, very good.
What stands out?
Shows a little colt being adopted by mountain goats, and they teach it how to negotiate, rugged cliffs, and then it runs into a cave, and out comes the Bronco.
Wow. That sounds really cool. I'll have to
It's
look for
really a nice commercial.
Where have you seen that? Is that on Motor Trend?
It was on Motor Trend, and it was also, I think, on the History Channel.
No, we can put a link up to our on our Facebook page to that ad. I'll go out and check it out. Sounds great. And there's animal actors in it.
And then they show the shifter with the goat mode.
Very cool. Still, is that in production now? I have not seen any on the road.
Well, they're saying go to your dealer and get one.
Go to your dealer and buy one. So there you have it. All right. Well, we'll have one for review. I have a Bronco Sport coming up that I'm going to review. I haven't driven it yet. It's going to be arriving. I have a F-150 hybrid that I'm going to review that will be coming up. So those are two vehicles that we'll be reviewing at the wheel. You have another one, don't you, Les?
Well, I have the Lexus, and I just got out of a Mazda 3 Turbo.
Cool. So we've got plenty to talk about, and
Yep.
we'll have those.
And the Toyota Highlander.
Well, we will be giving you some more at-the-wheel reviews. Coming up will be this Ux250h Lexus. Cool little crossover, smaller crossover, hybrid. Gets great scores. We'll talk about this thing. Also, this was a wintry review, Les Jackson. I'll show you. You can see the snow was around when we did this review. Got that big Lexus shark mouth grille. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I like the taillights, how they kind of stuck out like tail fins. I thought that was pretty neat. Very angular design, angular style lines, interesting shape on the wheel wells. Fun to drive, easy to drive, all-wheel drive. You can get the 200 model without the all-wheel drive, but I found it great. There were some things I didn't like about it, and we'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control on the live radio show. But all in all, kind of nice vehicle. Final assembly point, Miyawaka, Fukuoka, Japan.
In 5.
All right, and I said that on the radio too. All right, here we go.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control Radio. I'm Fred Staab. He is Les Jackson. We're glad you're along for the ride with us. Appreciate it. We've been covering a lot of automotive topics this hour. New reveals, new vehicles, and more. And now it's time for an at-the-wheel review. We're going to be reviewing this vehicle, the 2021 Ux250h Luxury from the folks over at Lexus. Kind of a neat, smaller crossover that you don't normally see these days. Normally it is a gigantic vehicle. I found this one really easy to drive, really easy to use. I mean, when you don't have all that bulk, you can really get in and around. It was very sprightly Les Jackson. I would say it was a sprightly vehicle. The one I had was in white, which I'm not a fan of white, but I tell you, it worked well with this vehicle. It's called Imminent White Pearl. It's powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder hybrid engine, 181 total horsepower. Power flows through a continuously variable transmission. I found it to be quite sporty. I really did. I thought they call it, even in their press release, they call it the crossover for the urban dweller. And I think that's a good way of putting it, because I used it in a suburban type situation, but I ran a lot of errands in it, and I did a lot of shopping with it, and I found it to be easy to drive, easy to use, just certainly a great vehicle to spend time in. I also found that the seating position, I found a great visibility, even though the side windows are a little small. On the inside, good room on the inside. It had a 2-tone interior with white leather and black accents, which was really, really high-end. Felt high-end. That's what I would say. It was a high-end feeling vehicle. I like the fact that it had all-wheel drive. You can get the 200. This is the 250. You can get the Ux250, which is just front-wheel drive. New for 2021, there's a new rear cargo adjustable double-decker board. And sometimes we don't get those boards, and they don't put them in the vehicles, I think, because they figure somebody will walk away with it or whatever. They changed some colors. There's a blind spot monitor now with rear cross-traffic alert is now standard. So kind of a little tweaks to this model year. But I liked the way it drove. I really did. Now, what didn't I like? Well, on the inside, there are some weird controls, and this is not really just a problem with the Ux250h. It's a problem with a lot of Lexi, because they still have that touch screen, that finger screen that's sort of like what you have on a laptop. And that, to me, is kind of outdated. They've really stuck with that a long time, and I think they probably should have moved away from that. And also, there's a weird control right on the console that almost looks to me like it is a heritage follow-on from a Sony Walkman. It looks like someone glued a Sony Walkman to the console, and that has rotary controls for your radio and I believe changing stations and things like that. While it's functional, it looks like someone glued a Walkman to the console and they put it in there. But overall, I like the shape of the vehicle. I like the design of the vehicle, and it gives you that all-wheel drive capability and great storage without a big, bulky vehicle. And you and I, maybe we're the last two around here, that we just don't need that big, bulky vehicle, that big, square crossover, but we like the all-wheel drive of the smaller crossovers. It's
Right.
It is certainly like a little hatchback that's been made into a crossover, and I found it quite useful. Let's delve into the numbers here on this, though. You get a lot of standard safety things like 10 airbags. You get anti-lock brakes, of course, brake force distribution. You get high beam headlights, road sign assist, Lexus Informed Safety Connect, a 3-year trial for that. Then on the inside, you got some great multimedia, a 10.3-inch color display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility, which is a big deal for Lexus. 6-speaker Lexus premium sound, voice command, Siri eyes-free Google Assistant. On the exterior, have bi-LED headlamps. You got to get them if you want to get good ratings and for crash ratings and IIHS ratings. On the inside, we had auto dual zone climate control. I'm one of the few that uses that. I don't know. Do you use that? My wife and I use that a lot because I'm always want it cooler and my wife wants it warmer. Some people
Yeah.
say they don't use that. I do.
I use it most of the time.
Yeah. And there is a tonneau cover, a first aid kit. Lexus includes the first aid kits. I don't know why, but that's fine. Moonroof, navigation system, rain sensing wipers, heated and ventilated front seats, power back door with kick sensor so you can put your foot under it. And then there's other goodies like a wireless charger for your phone, windshield de-icer, head-up display. And so these are optional. Wireless charger, $75, worth it, I think. Windshield de-icer, $100. Head-up display, $500. Triple beam LED headlights with auto leveling, $1,600. Intuitive parking assist. Premium paint, we've been seeing that a lot on vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
Heated steering wheel, best $150 you can spend on a vehicle. Subtotal, $43,275, and the delivery was $1,025, which is pretty common these days, for a total price of $44,300. We are talking, by the way, about the Lexus Ux250h Luxury. Overall score, 5 stars, frontal crash, 4 for driver and passenger side, 5 for front seat, rear seat, rollover, 4 stars. So does well. And then this is a hybrid. You look at the mileage numbers, city 41, highway 38. Not bad numbers. That's more the type of number you would get on a, let's say, a Toyota Corolla or something like that, I guess, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty heavy.
It's pretty heavy. It has all-wheel drive. I liked it. I thought it was a great vehicle. Matter of fact, my neighbor has the exact same vehicle. And so it was kind of funny when that showed up. They're like, that's my car. But she happens to like it too, so we'll factor her knowledge and her experience into that. Good vehicle, though, if you're looking for all the attributes of a larger crossover in a smaller package, the UX250h might be yours. And it's got a great hybrid system that drives really well. I believe the 250h has a little bit more power than the 200. I would opt for the all-wheel drive anyway. I'm just a big fan of getting all-wheel drive on any vehicle where you might encounter snow or anything like that. I mean, some of our listeners that are down in Texas and Florida and that really don't need it, but up here, up north, we like it, don't we? So there you have it, an at-the-wheel review of the UX250h by Lexus. We'll have more at-the-wheel reviews coming up. Les and I have talked about some of the vehicles we'll be getting into. Hey, don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I am Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road.
Bye.
Thanks for watching on YouTube and Facebook Live. If you've got any comments on the show, vehicles you like us to review, guests you like us to get on, just put it in the comments on Facebook Live or down in YouTube Live. Either way, we're glad to do it. Les, we will do this again next week, won't we?
Yes, indeed. And everybody have a good weekend.
Good weekend. And if you're celebrating, happy Easter, happy Passover, all there. So we appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.